We're speaking with Elise Roberts, president of Secure Today Financial. She's also the featured expert on the new book, Journey to Financial Security. Today, we're going to talk about all the different types of annuities and some of the nuances. Elise, tell me, how does somebody optimize their growth in an annuity? What are things that they should be looking out for?
Well, with today's options, it's unbelievable what they can do. It's not so much looking out for, it's knowing how to strategically plan how they're going to position their money that year or this next couple of years and make a plan. And so we do that together. Some of the new features allow you to actually, in the middle of the year, because the old annuities, indexed annuities, okay, you would put your money in and you would follow the market. If the market got really high in 6 months and you loved that rate, you were stuck until the anniversary, which was the whole year later.
So the last 6 months, maybe that index goes
Drops.
down and you lose some of your potential gains.
Or
that
all
you
of it.
Yeah.
You get a zero.
You don't lose any money, but you didn't get that 6 month gain.
You didn't get the gain. The new features allow us to set a lock. If you're following the market certain ways, but we'll talk before, and you'll understand it, you'll be able to lock that index. And there's other things you can do. You can set a high mark and a low mark. And when it hits those, it automatically locks.
So like, let's say I'm okay with, or my target is 7% or 10%. I can set my lock.
Set the lock.
And then if it hits 7 or 10.
It'll lock.
Anytime throughout the year.
Yes.
Whereas normally you'd have to
wait until the 1 year mark. And at that point, you don't know what the rate would be.
Right.
So now you know you got your 7. Okay, and some of the new features allow you to get double that or triple that. It's just really amazing. But let's say you got your 7. Here's how it works. You don't get the money right then. So you still have 6 more months till your anniversary. On your anniversary date, the 7% drops in your account.
It's just 7 though.
And now,
no matter what happened in the last 6
more,
but no matter what happened in the last 6 months of that index went down, I still got my 7.
Correct. And one of the other things I love, there's a thing called a trigger, a new feature in some of the annuities that say if you're following the S&P and the trigger is 10, if the S&P does 1%, a 0.5%, you get the 10. It's crazy, some of these options.
What if it does like 0.1%?
It's
still
as long as there's a gain, you get the 10. If it's a 0, you get a 0. Because if the market went down, you didn't trigger anything. But as soon as there's a positive gain on that anniversary, because that's the one you can't lock.
Whatever that trigger rate is.
That's what you get.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
It's something that, probably in the last few years it's come out. In the last 2 or 3 years, annuities have just totally changed. If you have one over 3 years old, you need to call us. That's what I would tell anyone. 3 years is the sweet spot. So if you've had it for at least 3, some 2, but mostly 3 years, because interest rate environment was still 0. Okay, so they're totally different annuities.
Right.
And they don't tend to make the same money.
So interest rates were a little bit worse, but on top of that, there's just new features and benefits as well.
There's so many that it's just difficult for us to do this, and it's going to confuse people. So we want to give them enough information, but just enough to say, if you're interested, call us.
But at least that trigger one is really interesting because people could say, you know what, with the market, I can put stop losses and things like that. Maybe that's similar to a lock and different, but similar. But the trigger one, where else are you going to find something like that?
You can't find that anywhere. There's no trigger in a regular S&P just following the market or being in the market.
Right.
This is following certain indexes, and some have triggers, some don't.
Okay.
So you have to find the company that offers the trigger.
Okay.
Some triggers are lower, some are higher, but you want to pick the company for more than just that reason.
Okay, and my next question actually refers back to what you were saying before. The waiting 1 year, now that we don't have to do that anymore on some indexes, some products that we can lock in, that was a big problem, I think, for people with annuities, is that it depended on that day, that anniversary day, right?
Everything was all about that one day, and that's the negative. So today, that's out the window if you're choosing certain indexes.
So now talk to me about how it was always just 1 year, but that's changed too.
Yeah, now there's 2 years, 5 years. Here's the beauty of, let's say, a 5 year.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to do that for 5 years. I don't know what the rates are going to be. I might want to change something. The beauty is if you take a 5 year and you're following a market or an index that has this lock feature, okay, you participate with that index, and in the first year, because you're choosing a 5 year, now it's instead of a 1 year, which is like 100% or 70% of that index, you would get it. without a cap. Here, the 1 year is like 120, 130, 140%.
So I choose a longer period.
But you can use it and use it 1 year at a time. And you can lock it. If you locked it in 6 months, you can get out at the 1 year mark and start over and do something else. But you got the higher percentage because you used the 5 year as a way to get a bigger return.
Well, this is
it's
really
so
interesting
exciting.
and kind of confusing, but interesting. So I get the better rates that come with the 5 year, but if I also have the lock feature, I can play within those 5 years.
And get out in 1 year. Or let's say the market went down and you got a zero, you didn't get to lock it. You're stuck for the next year. There's the negative. But it wouldn't matter so much because you started way down here with this number and it went up, but then it went down. So it didn't really maybe make enough money for you to lock it. So there was a little bit of gain. You still got your gain.
Right.
You just didn't get as much as you would have if you'd have been able to lock a bigger number. So then you didn't lock it, so you're stuck in there. You got to keep the little gain, but now the next year you're already climbing, let's say. And that's what's happening this year. I'm watching my accounts every quarter, and the clients are already starting to see that they're getting ahead. So in the next 3 months, we'll be doing a lot of locking.
So Elise, you stole the words out of my mouth. I got one more question. We got only a little bit of time. Sounds like this is complicated just from the get-go. I need somebody that understands this environment, somebody like you, but it's not just the get-go. It's ongoing maintenance and service of this.
That is the key to an annuity. If you're a person who put you in an annuity, doesn't call you on a regular basis, help you understand the options you have and the choices you get to make on a regular basis, you need to get rid of them and find someone.
By the way, are you seeing that a lot? That a lot of people that deal with annuities, they just set it up and then you never hear from them again?
That's exactly what happens. And unfortunately, part of that is the negative is they get paid and they're gone. And so what we pride ourselves in is the service that comes with it. If we put the annuity in place for you, okay, you don't pay us. We get paid from the companies, and that money doesn't come out of your account to pay us. But we have a job to do. And so many people don't do it because they don't really have to. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's part of that. It's very sad, but the requirement for the agent, once they put you in an annuity, and I've seen it in the CE classes, which is so disappointing to me, said it's zero. They don't have to. Now, you want to make sure you work with someone, check their clients, get their reviews. Yeah. Do they do the service? And most of them don't.
And it sounds like you really love what you do. It sounds like, I mean, you could tell you're excited. Ladies and gentlemen, you want some help choosing the right annuity. You want to just look at your options with annuity. Doesn't mean you have to get it. Call Elise, but more importantly than that, if you do decide to use an annuity, work with somebody like Elise and her team at Secure Today Financial because it's also about maintaining that annuity.
Service.
Just give them a call, 888-526-4184. Go to the website, theannuityshow.com, or simply scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen.